served on a platter for that right hand right there. And look at Jake Paul's face. He knew it right away. He said, woo!
Declaring your winner by knockout, AJ Anthony Joshua!
In this venue, now, you asked me a question. Look, it wasn't the best performance. It wasn't the best. The end goal was to get Jake Paul, pin him down and hurt him. That has been the request leading up, and that what was on my mind. It took a bit longer than expected, but...
Earlier, he was smart, like his movement was good. He was clever in the clinch. I was actually impressed, but you know, obviously there was a massive gulf between them and it was only a matter of time, but listen, fair play, as I said, he did more rounds.
The sound of the glove connecting with the temple wasn't just a thud. It was a gavel slamming down on a verdict the boxing world had been waiting for. When Anthony Joshua finally unleashed that decisive right hand in the 6th round, it didn't just end a fight. It dismantled a narrative that had been building for years. The atmosphere in the arena shifted in a split second from the chaotic buzz of a circus event to the reverent silence that always follows a display of true, elite-level violence. For months, the conversation had been dominated by what-ifs and the intoxicating allure of a YouTuber's meteoric rise. But as the dust settled and Jake Paul stared up at the lights,
At times early in the first round, Flush didn't even flinch. You see that tonight? That was an absolute abomination, if that is even a word, because that is a monster. The #1 heavyweight in the world.
AJ's a banger. Listen, it's over, isn't it? Yeah. Just like you can see there. Looks perfect. Big props to AJ. Deserved it, isn't it?
John, can I get you as well? Can I get your reaction?
This is how the Fury fight should have went.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Oh my fucking god!
Oh my!
What did we just witness there? We witnessed professional, world-class Olympic champion, 2-time unified heavyweight champion.
He wasn't ready for Anthony Joshua because Anthony Joshua was a different thing.
Yeah.
Like it's just, he's got more one-shot knockout
It was
power.
bad game
He took it
plan
more
as well,
seriously
though.
too.
Supposed to happen. There's no way. Even if Anthony Joshua is not in tip-top shape.
He's out, He's out, Big AJ. Big Nigerian. Big Let's go. Listen, I told you.
I know.
He's bad.
I told you.
the reality of the sport came crashing back down. This was no longer about social media followings or pay-per-view numbers. It was about the brutal, unyielding difference between a manufactured fighter and a unified heavyweight champion of the world. The footage of the knockout tells a story far deeper than just a win and a loss. It is a case study in patience, levels, and the devastating consequences of entering deep waters with a shark who knows exactly when to bite. The TO understand the magnitude of this finish. One has to look past the final blow and analyze the surgical precision that led to it. The ringside commentary team was almost breathless, noting the clinical nature of Joshua's work.
That's how it should be. That's how it should be. The only thing we should have been talking about is the what if.
I always say you lot make a big deal out of it when people lose. When you win, it's just on to the next. You lot, when you lose, that's when it...
There was a specific moment, just seconds before the end, where the dynamic shifted irrevocably. Joshua, who had been stalking efficiently but cautiously, saw the opening. It wasn't a wild swing. It was a calculated decision. He took the right uppercut, he saw the reaction, and he realized the game was over. When an opponent's hands drop against a puncher like AJ, it is the ultimate signal. The commentary booth erupted.
Very impressive display, done it in absolute style. Tremendous punching power, good jab.
God, Anthony Joshua absolutely nails him with a big right hand. I did not expect to see that, but Anthony Joshua, fair play to AJ. He's gone in there and he's done professional boxing proud.
Screaming that his hands were down, realizing that even if Paul landed his absolute best shot at that moment, it would be like throwing a pebble at a tank. The display was described as absolute style, a tremendous showcase of the punches that have kept Joshua at the pinnacle of the division for a decade.
Wow. I had picked
Joshua to win. And one of the things I thought from a technical standpoint to look for was in the fight against Fury, he showed a terrific counter left hook.
It was the jab that set the table, but it was that massive right hand that cleared it. What stood out most to the experts and legends watching ringside was not the ferocity of the finish, but the calmness that preceded it. In the post-fight chaos, the analysis focused heavily on Joshua's mindset. He didn't come out swinging wildly, trying to prove a point to the critics who called for a first-round demolition. Instead, he adhered to a strict,
"You're a classless loser, coming off a 15 months knockout defeat to a local lad. Imagine if someone from Morecambe knocked me out."
Johnny.
Professional game plan. He trusted his experience. The gulf in class was obvious from the opening bell, but Joshua didn't let that arrogance seep into his performance. He respected the sport enough to apply steady, suffocating pressure. He waited. He watched. He downloaded the data of Paul's movement, his reactions to feints, and his breathing patterns. When the opening finally presented itself in the 6th round, Joshua didn't force it. He simply walked through the door that Jake Paul had inadvertently left open. It was a strong achievement that showcased discipline over ego, proving that elite heavyweight composure is a weapon just as dangerous as a right cross. The reaction from the fighter himself was telling. In the immediate aftermath, surrounded by the flashing lights and the roaring crowd, Joshua was the calmest man in the building. When pressed on the performance, he didn't indulge in hyperbole. He admitted it wasn't his absolute best performance, acknowledging the friction of the fight, but he emphasized the end goal. The objective had always been to pin Jake Paul down and hurt him. That was the request from the public, and that was the mission on his mind. He acknowledged it took a bit longer than some expected, perhaps longer than the betting favorites predicted, but the result was never in doubt. This level of self-awareness is what separates the greats from the good. Joshua wasn't fighting for the applause of the moment. He was fighting to execute a professional job, and once he broke Paul down, the result was academic. Joseph Parker, a man who knows exactly what it's like to share the ring with Joshua, summed up the dynamic perfectly. He noted that AJ didn't rush. There is a temptation in fights like these, where the skill gap is perceived to be massive, to try and blast the opponent out in 30 seconds. But that is where mistakes happen. That is where upsets are born. Joshua avoided that trap entirely. He tracked Paul around the ring, cutting off angles, shrinking the workspace, and breaking him down mentally before he broke him down physically. The knockout didn't come instantly, but it came on Joshua's terms. It showed maturity and control. It wasn't about speed. It was about doing the job the right way. Parker's analysis highlights that Joshua delivered exactly what top heavyweights are expected to do. Take your time, chase them down, unload, and get the knockout. It was a professional day at the office for a man who has stood atop the podiums that Jake Paul has only watched on television. Eddie Hearn, always the pragmatist, brought up a crucial point that many overlooked in the heat of the moment: ring rust. Joshua had been out of the ring for a while. There is a physiological and psychological difference between sparring and fighting under the bright lights, and in the early rounds, that rust was visible. Paul's movement, erratic and survival-based, made him a difficult target to pin down initially. But the mark of a champion is the ability to adapt. Despite the rust, Joshua stayed composed. He didn't panic when a shot missed or when Paul circled away. He understood that Paul's movement was only delaying the inevitable, not preventing it. Once AJ found his rhythm, usually around the 3rd or 4th round, the difference in class became glaring. It became a battle of experience and intelligence rather than just raw power. Even after time away, Joshua proved he could adapt, stay patient, and still close the show when it mattered. Hearn's respect for Jake Paul was measured. He acknowledged him as a tough guy who made it difficult, but the praise was ultimately directed at Joshua's ability to solve the puzzle. When a legend like Roy Jones Jr. speaks, the boxing world listens, and his praise for Anthony Joshua was simple yet profound. He saw the performance not just as a win, but as a statement of elite skill. Taking down an opponent in 6 rounds after a period of inactivity highlights an ability to manage a fight that few possess. Legends like Roy recognized the subtle mastery that casual fans often miss, the controlling of the ring center, the waiting for the right moments, the delivery of punishment with surgical precision. This wasn't a fluke or a lucky shot. It was a showcase of top-tier heavyweight strategy. Joshua made the fight look easier than it was because he utilized patience, timing, and power in perfect harmony. For the boxing world, this endorsement from Roy Jones Jr. serves as a reminder that Anthony Joshua remains a dominant figure, a true heavyweight champion who operates on a frequency that novices simply cannot tune into. Perhaps the most electrifying reaction came from Tyson Fury. Known for his colorful commentary and rivalry with Joshua, Fury's reaction captured the shockwaves that the knockout sent through the division. He noted that even if Joshua wasn't in tip-top shape, the result was catastrophic for Paul. The knockout wasn't just effective, it was emphatic, calculated, and brutally efficient. Fury, in a rare moment of candid admission, stated he nearly predicted the outcome perfectly, though he expected it even sooner. But even he seemed stunned by the precision. Watching Joshua systematically take control, read the movement, and deliver the decisive blow showed a level of championship intelligence that even his fiercest rivals have to respect. Fury's reaction highlights how even peers at the highest level can be awed by AJ's mastery when he is in the zone. It reinforced Joshua's status not as a returning fighter, but as a tactical, dominant, and fearsome heavyweight capable of neutralizing hype and executing a knockout with terrifying finality. The physical reality of the fight was best described by the commentary surrounding the first round. There was talk of Joshua taking flush shots early and not even flinching. This is the monster aspect that Daniel Cormier alluded to. It wasn't just about offense, it was about durability and conditioning. To walk through the best shots of a heavy-handed opponent without blinking demonstrates a level of physical conditioning that takes a lifetime to build. It was described as an abomination in the most complimentary way possible, a mismatch so severe that it looked like a predator playing with its food. AJ controlled the ring, absorbed what little punishment was offered, and then applied his power with devastating efficiency. Calling him a monster wasn't hyperbole. It was a description of a champion operating at a level where his opponent simply could not hurt him. Daniel Cormier's insight went deeper into the psychology of the matchup. He pointed out that AJ didn't just win, he completely outclassed Paul, showing the stark difference between a seasoned heavyweight champion and a YouTube star. Every movement, every feint, and every punch demonstrated experience. Joshua controlled the pace, anticipated reactions, and delivered damage when it mattered most. Cormier emphasized that this wasn't just a victory, it was a masterclass. It was a lesson in levels.